Hello there. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. I'm Ryan in Singapore. Welcome to our mindfulness practice. Today's topic is about the 9 attitudes again. However, what I wanted to really bring attention to today was missteps in the 9 attitudes, ways that you could actually cause yourself harm by thinking that you're following the 9 attitudes. So I think this is really good to bring attention to because we might hear the 9 attitudes of mindfulness, which are, just say really quickly, non-judging, patience, beginner's mind, trust, non-striving, acceptance, letting go, gratitude, and generosity. We may think of these things, and maybe you're like me, that you've heard them, you've intentionally tried to practice them so many times that you can rattle them off very easily. So, it could be the way that you approach the 9 attitudes are almost with a kind of religious fervor, that it's something that has become more dogma than it is really looking with a kind of dialectic thinking or critical thinking to understand each situation that you're experiencing individually, and knowing that you might experience a situation and go, oh, I didn't apply one of the 9 attitudes, and judge ourselves as not being as mindful as we could have been because we didn't apply the 9 attitudes. So I just want to make sure that we understand really deeply what the 9 attitudes are, and today, maybe more importantly, what they are not, so that we don't get caught up in this kind of doing the wrong thing because we think this is what we ought to do, and as well judging ourselves harshly because we haven't exhibited one of the 9 attitudes or several of the 9 attitudes. I guess the real, briefly, one of the key takeaways here is not to be judging ourselves too harshly, not to be striving too hard towards perfection, but understanding that we all have flaws and we all can have mistakes and setbacks from time to time. So that said, I just want to give credit to a mindful leader who sent out an article about this, and I think it really helped me to digest what these potential setbacks are, because I think the very non-judging was one of them. That this is a trap that I think is really easy to fall into, because I think all of us, when we hear non-judging, we tend to think of, I shouldn't judge other people, and that's really not what non-judging is about. So I think that's one of the traps that I fell into. But well, anyway, without further ado, I'm just going to go ahead and read a few pieces of this article so that you also have a clear idea as to what missteps could be taken in the 9 attitudes. We'll start with attitude number 1, non-judging. So the intention of non-judging is to cultivate awareness that observes thoughts and experiences without labeling them as good or bad, fostering a more compassionate and open-minded perspective. So what is the potential misapplication? It could lead to the dismissal of critical thought, resulting in passive acceptance of unfavorable behaviors or circumstances. Critical discernment is essential in making informed decisions and cannot be entirely forsaken. Stepping in front of a bus is dangerous. I think I like this example because we all understand this, and it is important for us to judge that doing that is dangerous and is going to be life-threatening. So it doesn't mean that we become non-judgmental blobs that don't judge anything as one way or the other. It's that more of this observational approach to be able to see ourselves as we are, and to see each experience that we experience from a perspective of curiosity. It's like, what is this about? Is it possible to open up and to not judge our experience? So, and to not judge our judging. I think that's really the key to non-judging. Is it possible to not judge the judging thoughts that we have, and to go, the fact that I think this, the fact that I feel this way, the fact that I don't want to step in front of the bus is not that judgment is not it. Maybe that feeling, maybe that creates strong feelings inside me. Those are not necessarily good or bad. An example of this is someone repeatedly excuses a friend's disrespectful behavior towards them, thinking that they're practicing non-judgment. Over time, this leads to a diminished sense of self-worth and resentment in the friendship. Attitude number 2, patience. Intention encourages a calm and enduring approach to life's challenges, recognizing that some things unfold in their own time, which can counteract the pervasive demand for instant gratification. The misapplication is misinterpreted as endless waiting for change. It might trap individuals in detrimental situations without taking protective steps for improvement or resolution. So an example might be, a person remains in a deteriorating, unfulfilling relationship, believing that patience will resolve deep-seated issues. Misguided patience results in years lost to unhappiness and prevents both partners from moving forward. Number 3, beginner's mind. Approaching experiences with an open, the intention is approaching experiences with an open and curious mindset, as if encountering them for the first time, which can lead to richer and more nuanced understandings. A misapplication is neglecting the value of past knowledge and experiences, might block the application of valuable life lessons, hindering growth and learning. Right. And so, I always advocate, and I think one of the reasons I really want to go through these is I really do advocate the 9 attitudes. That beginner's mind is a great way to look at things. Understanding our own ignorance is really important, but this might cause us to instead of coming with an open mind, get stuck in that rut and going, oh, I can't apply this thing that I've learned because I'm doing such a good job of applying beginner's mind. Example is, in learning a new skill, an individual dismisses all prior related knowledge they have, wanting to approach with a beginner's mind. This results in unnecessary struggles and frustration, prolonging the learning process. Number 4, trust. Intention is developing trust in one's intuition and feelings as a guide for personal truth and authenticity. The misapplication is an unquestioning belief in one's immediate thoughts and feelings, may lead to hasty and ill-considered decisions, overlooking the complexity of situations. Example, trusting in their own intuition without question, someone makes a significant life decision, like moving to a new city, without adequately considering the practical implications. The decision leads to unexpected challenges and regrets. Non-striving. Intention, focusing on being present and engaged in the current moment rather than being fixated on achieving a specific outcome, which can reduce stress and increase contentment. Misapplication could be misunderstood as rejecting all forms of ambition or goals, leading to a lack of direction and life purpose. And this is the reason that I'm reading these. Is that I really think they're so on point. Example, taking non-striving to mean no ambition or planning for the future, an individual may neglect their career or education. This lack of engagement can lead to missed opportunities, financial instability, and regret. Acceptance. Intention, recognizing and acknowledging things as they are without trying to change or resist them, facilitating a more serene and less conflicted existence. Misapplication can be confused with passive resignation, causing individuals to endure unhealthy or harmful conditions without seeking change. Example, an individual uses acceptance as rationale for not addressing critical health issues, thinking they should simply accept their condition. This avoidance of proactive health management can lead to worsened conditions and reduced life quality. Letting go. Intention, the practice of releasing attachment to thoughts, feelings, or outcomes, which fosters emotional freedom and resilience. Misapplication could lead to a life of avoidance in addressing and processing emotional issues, which is essential for emotional growth and health. Example, after a personal conflict, someone decides to let go of the anger without expressing or processing their feelings. This suppression can lead to unresolved emotions and strain in relationships. Gratitude just fosters intention, fosters an appreciation for what one has, countering tendencies towards negativity and entitlement, and enhancing overall well-being. Misapplication might be seen as overlooking or invalidating genuine distress and challenges, which can hinder authentic emotional processing and resolution. Example, overemphasizing gratitude for small joys in life. A person may neglect to address significant dissatisfaction in their life, such as lackluster career or unfulfilling relationships, leading to a sense of being stuck. So, generosity encourages giving and sharing from a place of kindness and abundance, enhancing connections with others and fostering a sense of community. Misapplication, misinterpreted as limitless giving without regard for one's own resources or well-being, can lead to burnout and resentment. Example, a person in their own effort to be generous continuously puts others' needs before their own to the point of neglecting their own well-being. This imbalance can result in burnout and resentment, undermining the very relationships they hope to strengthen. So, I didn't, reading all of these, it feels a bit cumbersome. There is a way. I'll share the article. I'll share the article on the Ryan's Daily Mindfulness Circle, so that you can see it for yourself. So just have a look if you like. I guess I want to read them out loud just in case, in case you don't have a chance to look at those, because I do think that it's important enough to go ahead and for me to read through them out loud, so that you can just get an idea of what some of these missteps could potentially be and how they can be harmful to you. And I think all of those are valid, and I guess that, and in my own practice, I have, through regular practice, have already worked through all of that stuff, and I just haven't been able to articulate it myself, and I haven't even thought about how to articulate it, because for me, in my own practice, it just happened naturally. I understood what the correct interpretation of the 9 attitudes and the potential pitfalls without explicitly reading about them. I think just through practice, it was natural for me, and I realized that may not be the case for everybody else. So, check it out, and after practice today, I'll post the link in Ryan's Daily Mindfulness Circle, and you can read through those if you like. In the meantime, it's already 15 minutes into our time together, so I'm going to need to shorten our period of practice a little bit. I considered breaking these up, but honestly, I think just one session is good enough. So let's go ahead and get into our period of practice. So sit comfortably wherever you are. Start to focus on the feeling of breathing. Notice the sensation of the rising and the falling of the chest as you breathe. Or the expansion and contraction of the abdomen. Or the feeling of air in the nostrils. And we'll just sit here for a few moments, as best you can, concentrating on that feeling, dwelling in the present moment, allowing as best you can for the body to relax, the mind to relax. And I'll invite you to reflect on what we had just talked about. So as I was walking through those 9 attitudes and the examples of the potential missteps, potential ways that you could get trapped, did any of those resonate with you? Did you notice any feelings in your body, especially feelings of tightness, of resistance? As we talked through non-judging, patience, beginner's mind, trust, non-striving, acceptance, letting go, gratitude, and generosity. As I said those 9 words just now, was there any one of them that in particular grabbed your attention, made you consider your own actions in regards to that attitude, your own ideas? So just to be aware with a non-judging attitude, how you're feeling. Allowing yourself to be open to whatever your thoughts and emotions may be. One of the real possibilities with these attitudes is that we decide to become more passive. We decide to engage less with our lives. And this is not the intention of these attitudes. There is no passive resignation. Understanding our life for what it is in this moment does not mean that in the next moment of life it will not be different. In fact, it's quite the opposite. Each moment brings a new beginning. Each and every breath is new life. Freshness, renewal. In our period of practice, we can take this time out to be completely present. But in other times in life, it is important to intentionally look towards the future, to intentionally process the past. Use the lessons we've learned to move forward and be the best versions of ourselves. So I'm going to have a few minutes of silence before we end the practice. As best you can, just keep your attention focused on the present, on the feeling of breathing. Okay. We'll begin to wrap up our practice now. I'll close practice with 3 rings of the bell, and then feel free to move your body and stretch out in any way you like. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for practicing with me today. Thanks for choosing to take some time for yourself. I hope that these explanations of potential pitfalls of the 9 attitudes were helpful for you. Maybe you saw some areas in your life where you had over-applied some of the 9 attitudes. As we were doing the meditation, and I walked through and said each of the 9 attitudes. I noticed my mind paused at non-striving, because I think that there are times that I've kind of given myself a little bit too much leeway to do nothing in times that I should have been doing something. So that was the one that stuck out for me when we were practicing, to go, to be less active in times where I should have been working towards a particular goal. So that's, just sharing with you what happened for me today. Feel free to write in the chat whatever happened for you, and we can talk through it a little bit. As we walk through those, did something come up for you? We can chat about that. We can chat about whatever you like. So, again, thanks for practicing. I'm going to have a look at the chat now. Thanks, Tina. Thank you for your donation. Did any of the 9 attitudes and possible misinterpretation of the 9 attitudes resonate with you today? And if not, that's okay too, because it's about time for me to go anyway. I think these are, I'd say beginner's mind is one that I think that it's one that we may have trouble at. I guess it's one of the attitudes that these days I feel is really important, because we all have our own set ways that we go, that this is good, this is bad, right? So to kind of combine beginner's mind with non-judgment, it blocks us sometimes from connection with others. I just think of, what, and it's hard for me to think. I'm thinking in a bunch of different contexts, but one that comes up is political. Well, there's so much that we have in common, yet we often allow something as nuanced as ideas that are relatively similar anyway to come between us. And beginner's mind is one of, I guess that's the thing. Can we go? Can we say, hey, I'm ignorant about so many things. I don't know these things for certain. I think this is a really important aspect of beginner's mind, is that it's really easy to feel like the expert in a bunch of things, especially here during the information age, where we have so much information at our fingertips, especially information that is likely biased towards our own beliefs, because of our confirmation bias. Beginner's mind is really challenging. Anyway, Jean says self-judgment comes up when my mind wanders. Thanks for sharing. Me too. It's easy to kind of go, well, why am I not able, after all of these years of practice, why am I still not able to focus? And it's because you're human, and that's normal. And even if you're a monk who's been sitting in silence for years, it's still common for the mind to wander. So thanks so much, everybody. Let's see, what are we doing next time? Oh, right. And speaking of beginner's mind, I knew there was a segue there. Speaking of beginner's mind, the name of the next session is what happens after you die. Right? So I think everybody's got an idea behind that, and so I guess the spoiler that I'll tell you now is, unfortunately, as much as I'd love to say I have an answer, I don't have an answer for that one. But I kind of want to discuss some things behind it and see how beginner's mind is relevant to that discussion. I think we're all kind of curious and want to know the answer to that age-old question. So come back next time and we'll chat through that and understand some helpful and maybe not so helpful attitudes in that topic of what happens after you die. And I think that's beginner's mind is cultivating beginner's mind in this realm helps in open-mindedness in a lot of other realms. So look forward to it. Yeah, Nani, I'm going to post this article about the 9 attitudes and the potential pitfalls of the 9 attitudes on my chat on Insight Timer, which is Ryan's Daily Mindfulness Circle. So you can look up that chat and join it. I'll post the link there. Have a great day, everybody. Love having you here. Let's send our well wishes out to ourselves and to each other before we close. So follow along if you like. May I be happy and peaceful. May everyone watching and listening right now, wherever you are, I wish you all happiness and peace. May the earth and the universe, may all beings be happy and peaceful. All right. Thanks, everybody. See you on Tuesday morning, Singapore time, or Monday night if you're in Europe or the Western Hemisphere. Until then, bye-bye.